Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Monday, January 26th. If you are tuned in, it's most likely at home. If you're tuned in on the Yump, it's even more likely that it's at home or anywhere online in the Northeast or north of Alabama, specifically in the Nashville area. I hope everybody there is doing okay. A lot of trees falling, a lot of ice. Not as bad here, although we are out of school today.
True. Can't make it there. Can't make it there with this equipment. Sighting, cold weather. I did have 2 detours into the office today, though.
See?
2 puddles. Some would call them skate rinks. Others would call them puddles. 4 feet wide, 6 feet across. Can't drive around that. Can't do it. Close the road. But we did get here. Made it.
You made it in. That's what counts. That's what counts.
Made it in with time to spare. I was a little stressed there for a second. I was like, well, I've hit 2 before I even get to midway point of Homewood. And if there's like 2 more, it's going to be a little dicey.
We're glad you made it.
Yeah, we're here.
Past the
survive.
Past the workarounds.
Oh, yeah.
We've got our Super Bowl matchup set. We'll discuss that across the course of the show today. Paul Finebaum with us in a few minutes. Interested to ask him about, and listen, a lot has happened since this took place. I think this normally would have been a much bigger topic on the show, or a show that we were much more excited to discuss, but it happens sort of late Friday afternoon. And then we get Championship Sunday. We get a lot of news out of the portal. We get a big college basketball weekend. Everybody's getting into different shows. We had the weather. But the situation with Dabo Swinney made a ton of noise on Friday, GMAC, and one that we've always asked for. We're always asking, hey, if this is going on, if this is happening, why don't you just say something about it? Why don't you just call the people out? Why don't you just let everybody know what's taking place? Well, Dabo Swinney went and did it.
Yeah.
And put Pete Golding and Ole Miss on full blast Friday afternoon. And people had different feelings about it, different ways to discuss it. When you heard what Dabo said, saw what Dabo said, what was your thought on the way he did it and what he said?
I'll tell you the most troubling part of that whole story was when basically Ryan Williams, not the receiver, the agent, when he said, okay, yeah, we'll give you everything you want, all the evidence of tampering, if you just pay us $2 million. What? Like you're utilizing the evidence as leverage. What?
How
That is absurd.
do you think he's asking for himself or for the player? Because he's just asking for them to give him a check?
No, he's asking for he's got to get the player the money. Like, okay, yeah, we'll give you all the evidence you want, but yeah, you're gonna have to match their offer.
Right.
That's the most troubling part about this whole deal. Just goes to show you the character that you're dealing with. Like when it comes, hey, yeah, they're cheating, correct? They're doing something that is impermissible, but we're not gonna help your case against them, unless you pay us. Well,
what are we doing?
what are we doing?
Where are we?
Nothing else about it surprised me. I don't know how you felt about it. Nothing else about it was surprising or
Well, no, I will say I was surprised at Dabo. I'm not saying I'm surprised from Dabo himself personally, but I was a little bit surprised because how many times, numerous, hundreds maybe of times, that we've heard these coaches come out and say, guys, this is what's happening, or hey, I had this player thinking about hitting the portal, or I got guys calling every player on my roster.
Yeah.
And we every time we've sat here and said it. Put it out there then. Tell us about it. Let us know. And Dabo Swinney did. This was part of what Dabo Swinney had to say. By the way, do we know why he was meeting the media on Friday? Just for fun, or?
That I don't know. I just saw the 8-minute clip and I will get down to 153.
Random press conference of the week. Dabo Swinney meeting the media, describing how Ole Miss was approaching one of his players, potentially luring him to transfer.
the GM assured Jordan that he had communicated to the agent that he wanted no part of this and that his relationship with Jordan was more important to him than Luke Ferrelli, but that Pete Golding just does what he does, quote, unquote. So at 1:30, Sorrells met with Luke face-to-face in his office, and Luke communicated to Jordan and to Ben Boulware that Pete texted him on Wednesday morning, the head coach at Ole Miss, when he was in his 8 a.m. class. And he said the text message said, "I know you're signed. What's the buyout?" And he also, Luke said that Coach Golding also texted him a picture of a $1 million contract. Luke also mentioned to Jordan and to Ben that Coach Golding had Trinidad Chambliss call him from his phone, and that Coach Golding was there continuing to talk on his phone to push him to re-enter the transfer portal. He also said that Jackson Dart had reached out and called him. But Luke again assured Jordan that he had no intention of leaving. And Jordan kept me in the loop and told me the same thing. So we had a staff meeting on Friday morning, January the 16th, the last day of the portal. At 11:20, Luke called Ben Boulware and told him that Mississippi had reached out again, even though I had kind of let them know the day before, had reached out again, and they had not only reached out, but they had upped and doubled their offer. But Luke told Ben, "Hey, it's all, we're good." And so Ben told Luke to come to the office and see Sorrells and Coach Swinney and let them know, hey, everything is okay. So when that was over, Ben then texted Jordan Sorrells, and he let him know that Ole Miss had raised its offer to 2 years, $2 million.
Ooh. Okay, so some of the characters here you may not be familiar with. Ben Boulware, you probably remember him. Some of those games against Alabama in the playoffs for Clemson, now their linebacker coach. That's who he's referencing there. Obviously, you know Pete Golding. Luke Ferrelli is the player that is being referenced as at Clemson, attempting to be lured to Ole Miss, a former linebacker at Cal as well. Committed to Clemson 4 days later after he entered the transfer portal on January the 2nd. So none of this is overly surprising.
No.
None of this, I think, takes anybody off guard, other than the fact that, one, Dabo Swinney putting it out there publicly the way that he did, Greg, and then, two, the detail in which he put it out there publicly. And everybody's going to say, well, turn them in. I believe that Clemson has.
I think they did.
And it is in the proper hands of someone who potentially can go do something about it. And if they have the text threads, if they have the evidence, we'll see. Will this be the first time that somebody's actually taken a legitimate slap on the wrist for something like this? Because there have been many other instances that we can reference and talk about, but maybe this will be the first.
Well, here's the other thing I'd say. One, who's going to penalize them? Where's the SEC come out on this? Like, I kind of would like to hear from them. Because I feel like if the NCAA can't do anything, the SEC could probably do something. But it's a member institution, so you normally like protect your member institution. But like that's just blatant, man. That's just like that's reckless. And I love Pete Golding. Like I love him to death. And I want him to have great success. But like you can't go to that extreme. Like that's reckless. It's dumb. It's Jeremy Pruitt level dumb, is what it is. That's kind of what it is. And I love Jeremy, but like you can't do dumb things. Like you just can't. So I guess I'm just trying to figure out like how do you get this reckless if that's exactly how it went down.
Well, I think the other part too is this is. I know this wasn't the way it was designed, but this is what the agents are now for.
Yeah,
you do this through the agent. You let him know. He can then communicate to player, and none of this happens.
100%.
Because if Dabo Swinney standing on a podium discussing how Luke Ferrelli's agent has been discussing different possibilities with him, we're laughing at this.
Yep.
And saying, yeah, okay, and what else? This happens probably 22 times a day. Luke Ferrelli, by the way, 91 tackles for Cal a year ago as a freshman linebacker. So,
hang on.
Obviously a guy who's been
1 million.
Oh, you're doing
divided
per
by
tackle?
91. $10,000 a tackle.
What about the second contract that was offered? It'd be $20,000 a tackle?
No, it's only, but that's another year
Gotcha.
of guaranteed.
Obviously,
Which,
obviously good
let me tell
productive
you
player.
what another year of guaranteed means in college football.
Not much. Not much at all.
Yeah.
So this is something that is happening. And the bad part is I don't know how much that Dabo coming out and doing this publicly is going to slow things down. Maybe a couple of coaches sit there and look at it and say, well, as what you're pointing out, Greg, let's dial it back just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Let's take maybe the egregious portion of how we're
Right.
maybe going about with this down just a notch. But there are other avenues to have these conversations. There are different ways to have these conversations.
Totally.
I would be interested to know that after this came out, if there were any other linebackers that are available whose agents or representation began to send their information over to Ole Miss. Oh, we'll take half that. Well, we'll take a much smaller portion of that, by the way, if you'd like us to come on down. If you need a linebacker that bad,
desperately,
maybe there's some other guys that weren't planning on leaving.
100%.
That all of a sudden said,
you got my attention.
Yeah, we may now be available.
Correct.
And I don't know if this forces Ole Miss or Pete Golding to do anything different. I did appreciate the CYA from the GM. Just completely removing himself from the equation.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Probably smart.
Just what boss does, what he does. Nah.
But hey, the other thing, and like to play devil's advocate, and not necessarily to defend Ole Miss here, but like, who are you scared of?
Nobody.
That's my thing. Like, who are you scared of? Like, are you gonna get the show cause? Because I think Jesse Minner had a show cause and was like on the short list for like Michigan and a handful of other schools for his participation or alleged participation in the Connor Stallion situation. Jim Harbaugh's got a show cause. What does he care? Yeah, what? Who are you scared of? NCAA?
No, there's been an understanding for a long time of this is don't operate this way. We're not going to do this.
It's like a gentleman's agreement.
Correct. And I think that in a lot of instances is now gone. So, like you said, who do you trust? How do you even turn somebody in? What does it mean if someone gets turned in? What can you do? I honestly don't know. I have no idea how you go about this. And if nobody gets in trouble for anything, we may sit here and say, yeah, that'll have them backing things down. Who's to say this doesn't have other people ramping it up? Because they're going to look at it and say, all right, well, we know nothing's happening now. We're going to get after it. We don't care.
I know this sounds bad, but like, if there are no rules, like, for example, you're in a hurry. I drove to Mobile and back yesterday. I was in a hurry. If there was no rain, I would have probably gone real fast because I wanted to get back in time to watch Seattle and the Rams, which was totally fine. But guess what? On the drive, as much as I disliked it, there are speed limit signs. And there are speed traps. Like the one through Montgomery where you somehow, for whatever reason, drop on 65 down to 60 miles an hour. And how in Calera, you got to go a little slower. And when you get in Greenville, you got to go a little slower. Like there's areas and parts, I've made that drive so many times, like there's areas and parts where you're going to have to drive a little slower because there are rules. But I can tell you this, if there were no police officers, would you adhere to said stop signs? If you knew for sure on your drive there is not going to be a police officer, would you go faster? The answer is yes.
I think most people do when there are police officers. So
the answer is yes. Because you're not really, if you're not scared of getting a fine or a ticket, you're going to go faster. Just like the rest of us. And why do you think people made millions of dollars selling police scanners? Put them right there in your front windshield. Yep, police officer, gun. Got it.
Those things
Slow
are
down.
gone now, right?
I haven't seen one in a minute, but those things were fire. It's the coolest things ever. My next door neighbor, who's like 10 years older than me, when he turned 16, he got one in his car. I mean, I'm sure he hid it from his parents. But yeah, Chris Gray, police officer scanner. Anyways, but the reality is there's
one
no
of the greatest players in Homewood history, by the way.
Chris Gray?
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't from Homewood. West Hills, California.
No. Played for Auburn, played for the Seahawks for a long time. Great player.
That's cool. Makes sense. Anyways, back to what we're talking about, though. If there was no threat of getting any type of repercussion, you're going to speed.
Yep.
The same thing, like, right? Why would you, if you're Pete Golding, why wouldn't you do this? Who are you going to get? Who's going to get you?
Well, some people would say
morality, please.
yes.
Yeah, morality, because it's the right thing to do. Meanwhile, we'll boo him off the field if he loses a game next year. Like, are you kidding me? Morality. Like, no. All is fair in love and war. You take what you take what you can get, and if you can get a better player and improve your roster, you do what it takes. It doesn't make you a bad person. We're all sinful in nature. By the way, I went to church yesterday. We're all sinful in nature. So we are all broken, only to be saved by the grace of God.
Well, people are going to hear what you're saying now and say, okay, so everybody should go tamper.
Yes. Now, I'm not saying you should. I'm saying everybody does. And if I'm not tampering, I am getting left behind. I'm getting crushed. So, like, I'm sorry, I don't want to. But yeah, if I want to keep up with the Joneses and, like, keep my roster and, like, backfill and create competition, maybe get better players, well, all this stuff's like, you got to do it. I hate it.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you surprised that it's the head coach? And if you take your stance on this, should you not at least be, is this what your GM, is this what your director of player personnel, your director of scouting, your top recruiters are for? Man, I'm just asking how you offset this, because if I'm the head coach, I don't want my name on this stuff.
I wouldn't, but I think Pete's a brand new head coach, probably still learning the tricks of the trade, and he is a relationship guy.
He kind of doesn't care.
Kind of not, but
I mean, like, you listen to his press conferences, it's like you can tell, like, he's pretty much football, and like the rest is what it is. Like,
yeah.
he's football.
He's a football coach. Like, I don't think he's super concerned about the fine print on the NCAA bylaws.
I will say this:
it looks bad.
It looks terrible.
It looks bad.
But how many people are walking around saying, "Oh man, that Pete Golding"? Not many. And maybe that's unfortunate. I don't know. But on the flip side, what you have done to yourself now is you better be very careful if you're on that Clemson staff. Because not just Ole Miss.
Why Clemson?
You don't think anybody else is watching closely what they're doing now? And you're going to try to put somebody else on blast? You better make sure your guys aren't doing anything like that.
You mean don't cast stones?
Correct.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm
Clemson's performance in the portal in recent years, some tells me there's not as much tampering going on there.
Okay, but they have started to take a few guys.
They have, but
it's
I
got
don't
a linebacker from Cal.
Yeah. Well, where do you end up?
My point is if other coaches are looking to do something similar in the public eye and put somebody else on blast, who do you now think that they are looking to do that against?
There is no question. And Pete Golding is a very popular coach amongst his, like,
the fraternity.
Yes. Amongst the frat. People love him. Understandably, the guy's a guy. He's a guy's guy. Everybody love that guy. I don't know anybody that doesn't love him. He's one of the best. So, like, you mess with Pete, you're going to hear about it. For sure. I mean, that's gonna be a thing. No doubt about it.
How do you handle this if you're another coach at another school? Did Dabo Swinney handle this the right way? 800-239-9569. You want to get in? 800-239-WJOX. We'll hear from you. You can tweet in at Mac and Q. Be a part of the show there. We will ask Paul Finebaum on the other side what he thinks about what Dabo Swinney did and what it may mean for the future of college football next, right here on Jocks. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Monday, January 26th, right here on Jocks. Listen online, jocksfm.com. App in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free. Watch live on YouTube. Search Jocks945. He joins us each and every week from ESPN, the SEC Network, and hear him right here live, 2 to 6 p.m. weekdays. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks. It's Paul Finebaum.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Paul Finebaum on Mac and Cube in the morning is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it, the big dog's got it. Now, Paul Finebaum.
Paul, always great to have you in on a Monday morning. We were discussing, it now feels like 3 weeks ago instead of 3 days ago, because of everything that happened over the weekend, including the weather. Dabo Swinney's comments and putting Pete Golding and Ole Miss on blast Friday. What does this change at all for anyone moving forward, in your opinion?
Really nothing. What it really does, Cole, is it emboldens Ole Miss people feeling, okay, our guy's working hard. Our guy's trying to do whatever it takes, whether it's in theory legal or not. And that's kind of where we are in college athletics, as you guys know. And then there's Dabo Swinney, who just does the wrong thing at the wrong time, looking more distant, more out of touch, more antiquated, more antediluvian than he has ever been. And for a guy that just finished an absolutely miserable season, it doesn't help him because he is years removed from a legitimate national championship contender. Last year, being in the playoffs was more of an outlier than it was reality. Everybody knows Clemson started the season in the top 5 and ended up nowhere. And I just think it hurts him more than it has in the past. And that's a bad look for a guy that really still has support of a fan base because he has been one of the more remarkable coaches in changing a program's direction than anyone in modern history, but he just looks farther and farther away from ever getting Clemson to that moment again.
It's weird because I've heard a lot of people have that reaction, Paul, like, Dabo's an old man yelling at the clouds because of how much the landscape shifted, but ultimately he's calling out something that's wrong. You know what I mean? So, like, I understand where maybe it looks like there's a bit of something that's out of touch, but he also is calling out something that's wrong. But there's not really anybody that can police it. There's nothing you're scared of. So, is there something? But this is like next level, Jeremy Pruitt bad as far as like blatant going and doing something that to me feels aggressive, very aggressive, not to the same extreme and stupidity of Jeremy Pruitt, but same level of aggressiveness on the recruiting trail. Is there anything that can actually be done to curb this behavior?
Not much. I mean, there's a little bit, I guess, and I think what everybody in college athletics is waiting to find out is does anybody or will anybody do anything? And I think that's really the problem with the Dabo. Dabo used phrases that, while legitimate in sound, don't really matter much anymore. Like, we're going to turn you in. And I mean, that used to be the golden phrase. If if you do that one more time, Mike DeBose, I'm going to turn you in. And it just doesn't work much anymore. I mean, there's a way to do this, and I think he could have done it effectively by letting other people do it. But I think Dabo's problem, and it really doesn't matter what he says. He still comes off the same way, Greg. And that's he comes off whiny and out of touch. And I don't really think he's that far removed from anybody else. I mean, it's a frustrating thing. I've heard other coaches, even in the SEC, screaming about stuff like this.
Sure.
But I think there's a way to do it, and he should let the administrators handle it as opposed to him doing it.
Paul Finebaum joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline with us every Monday. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks. I want to shift gears just a little bit. Where your opinion on LSU this upcoming season has gone. I think we all knew what the roster and the team was going to look like, as was when Lane Kiffin took over. It feels like it has a chance to be very different now based on what he's done in the portal. Has it changed the expectation for you? Do you view them differently now based on what he's gotten in the portal? What is your sort of 1,000-foot view of Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss or at LSU now, as opposed to a month or two ago?
Everything is different for many reasons. Number one, we're not getting ready for the playoffs with Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin. I mean, that was impossible to look at objectively, and nobody wants to relitigate it. In the end, I believe Lane Kiffin is going to come out of this very well. He took a chance. He took the hits. But ultimately, what was he trying to accomplish? He was trying to get to LSU, get position, and make them into a contender. And he has done that. So as ugly as early December looked, as embarrassing as late December looked, and even into January while Ole Miss was beating Georgia and making a run at a national championship, and Lane Kiffin was being cooked by everyone, including me, he may very well have the last laugh. He has put together an amazing portal roster. Could he have done it coaching up until a week ago? No, I don't think he could have. So he gambled, and I think in the end, Lane Kiffin will be the ultimate winner. In spite of all the mud, in spite of all the egg, in spite of all the criticisms, Lane Kiffin is in a very strong position this morning.
When you look at how quickly he's able to do it now, look culturally, will they all come together? It does feel like a bit of an all-star team for sure in some ways with how they've gone and went to the portal. But if for whatever reason it gets to the fall and they have challenges being consistent, playing consistent football, winning games consistently, how would that reflect on Lane? Or would it be, all right, it's a one-off, he'll get it done next year?
I don't know whether it will work or not, but I ultimately feel that it is going to work in due time, whether it's this year or next year. And I know the easiest thing in the world to say is Lane Kiffin will break LSU's heart just like everyone else. I don't think so this time because he's in a different place. He's never been in a place quite like this. Tennessee was outstanding. Ole Miss had a lot of things going for it, but neither Tennessee or Ole Miss equals LSU. Audience understands that, don't need to explain. And I think he has a little time. He doesn't have to win the national championship a year from, I think it's from tonight. And I think he will make a run. And he's a smart coach. He's got a good staff. He's at a place where the resources are endless and the facilities are top notch. So ultimately, I think he has every single thing going for him.
Yeah, I think it was actually yesterday, 1 year yesterday, until our national championship game a year from now, less than a year from now. Wild to think about how late it'll be. Is there anybody else whose opinion you have changed for via very positive, very negative with what they've done in the portal, what they've lost in the portal out of the SEC? A team, a coach that you look at and say, okay, I feel a lot better about them than I did a month ago once the regular season ended or once portal season ended?
Yeah, I would say if you go back to even at the end of the regular season, even the SEC championship game, I didn't feel that badly about Kalen DeBoer, especially when he was able to beat Oklahoma. It all seemed right, but everything has seemingly gone wrong since then. And I think he has some serious issues heading into late winter, early spring, and trying to not only put his, add to his staff, but do something about the direction, the seeming direction of the program. And again, I mean, there were some bad moments last year. I remember talking to people in Alabama. There was a level of apathy that all corrected itself as we got closer to the season. I'm not sure that is going to be as easy for Kalen DeBoer this time around.
Well, we'll see how that one goes and see where the fans are if they take a similar stance to you. Paul, always appreciate the time. Great catching up. Look forward to doing it again next week.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
All right, Paul Finebaum joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline to discuss sort of where certain SEC teams are. It's easy to be more positive with the LSU right now. What does that look like for the rest of the league? Are we feeling better about some teams, worse about some teams? Maybe just since the season has ended, based on roster moves, based on assistant coaching moves. One made in Tuscaloosa that we'll discuss on the other side. We need to get to that. And has our opinion changed on what we expect from Alabama next season? First, Greg, tell our listeners about Canty.
Well, Canty can fix it. That's Cantey, can fix it. Look, days like today where it's freezing cold and things like that, that can be damaging to your foundation. It can lead to cracks. It can lead to problems. It can lead to burst pipes, all sorts of stuff. And Canty is the group that can get it taken care of. They have been serving this in this community for a while now, and they do a really good job. Canty can fix it. And if you have soil, shifting, uneven ground, moisture, weather, all these things, even just the age of your home, days like today make it extremely difficult. So for whatever reason, you're noticing some cracks in the walls, in the floors, maybe around the windows and doors. You're noticing the doors are not sticking or closing properly. You're noticing gaps between the crown molding or the baseboards around the windows and doors, you name it. All those things can be an indicator of problems with your foundation. That's why Canty Foundation Specialists offer free inspections and estimates so homeowners know exactly what's going on under their house. You can call them today at 205-509-3991. Their work is backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. You can also go online at Canty Can Fix It. That's Cantey, canfixit.com.
All right, so we'll take a look at some of the other SEC teams, where they stand now, in our opinion. We feel better, feel worse. We'll discuss it all after this on Jocks. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Super Bowl is set. Patriots, Seahawks. Patriots take out the Broncos 10-7. in Denver, and the Seahawks hold on against the Rams 31-27. Two pretty good football games yesterday as Championship Sunday now gone, and we have one more live tackle football game remaining this season. But as you saw, especially in the late game, UFL, March 27th. Let's go. New cities, new teams, new players, new coaches. Exciting times.
Official date release? I didn't even see that. It was during a commercial break?
Well, we've known that. But yeah, there were a couple UFL commercials yesterday.
I did see those.
So yeah, just March 27th. You only have to hold on for about 2 months. And
that's a long break for you.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to be chilling.
Doing nothing. Nothing to go there coming up here in the next little bit.
Just nothing. Nothing going on.
We did mention that there are some changes over the weekend that we need to discuss. Alabama, Greg, will be looking for a new offensive line coach. And this is a move that I think some people saw coming. We have discussed it off the air. We weren't going to say anything until it was finalized, didn't know exactly what was going to happen. But that's a direction that Alabama's now going to have to go to find someone else there. That aside, with what has happened in the portal, we asked this question with LSU, and we'll talk about them in a moment. Feeling better, more concerned about Alabama since the season ended based on everything else that's taken place?
They're going to be young, they're going to be young kind of across the board. But I also think people are now so enamored and infatuated with the Indiana model because it did work for Indiana. It worked to an extent with Vanderbilt. All that stuff was great. Vanderbilt had a lot of great moments this year. But Oregon's one of the youngest rosters in the country made to the semifinals. Like I guess to me, I think Bama's going to be. I actually kind of like what they have coming in. They got a bunch of guys that I think will not have any ounce of entitlement whatsoever. I think they're going to have good quarterback play. Very confident in that. I don't see how the run game can be worse. I feel like they've upgraded a couple spots along the offensive line. Feel pretty good about that group. We'll be curious about the offensive line coach, like you said. Do we have an answer on who that's going to be just yet?
We do not.
Not yet, right? Mm-mm. So we'll be curious. I know everybody wants Sam Pittman, but I don't get the sense that Sam Pittman's going to try to come out of retirement. He might be the greatest guy on planet Earth, one of the best offensive line coaches in the country. But do you think Sam Pittman would be open to listening to the job?
I think he would always listen because I think he loves to coach, but I'm not sure he wants to jump back in it right now.
Yeah. I don't know if I would. I mean, he's chilling. He's got that big old hog fountain. Just sit out there and look at that thing all day.
I don't think he's living in Fayetteville right now.
What?
Yeah, no.
No, he's got the hog fountain.
I didn't know. No.
Well, maybe not today. It's snowing.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see it today.
Yeah.
Like we saw pictures of the Harry Carey statue all frozen with snow. Like, why haven't we gotten the hog statue with all the icicles off of that?
It just because he's spitting water, the water's just frozen.
Just stopped in time. But Chris Kapilovic is going to be out, so Alabama goes a new direction there. We'll see if there will be another move or two. You're going to get a talented group. You're going to get a group that, quite frankly, doesn't have a ton of experience. Like you said, it's going to be a little bit younger. You did go find a couple of guys in the portal that could potentially help you. And I think it's an offense that has a lot of answers. And one that if I was an offensive line coach, I would love to work in because it's not going to ask the quarterback to sit in the pocket for an extended amount of time.
Yeah.
We have referenced how maybe – I'm not going to say ask the quarterback to do too much at the line of scrimmage last year, but probably wants to get away from that a little bit,
yes.
which could ease some of the burden of the communication up front this season specifically. So you're going to have guys. You got great skill. You've got talented offensive linemen. There are a lot of guys that are going to want that job. I'll just say that.
I would think so. You're going to have a young group that's hungry. I mean, a lot of the guys, if you look at on the roster that were recruited to go play offensive line, a lot of them had 3 stars next to their name. A lot of them are going to be eager for the opportunity. They're not going to be sitting at a spring ball. They're going to be dialed in. Like I think that group, let's just call it what it was. Everybody's, oh, look how talented. They weren't talented last year. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like across the board, they might have had potential. You can tell me about top 10 pick status. You can tell me about all these other things that this group had, but collectively across the board, y'all, it was an underwhelming group. I mean, I saw guys that, were 360 and looked really, really impressive carrying the football for a guy that was that big, but he never moved anyone off the spot. Like, I mean, not on a consistent enough basis for me to feel comfortable about it. I love Brailsford. I thought he gave you great effort every week. I think he's a great player. But I thought there was a lot of inconsistencies on the right side of the offensive line. You had a true freshman playing too, so that's a little bit challenging. But I thought he gave you some really good reps down the stretch. He'll be back. I never felt like we got quality guard play at any point this year from Alabama. Did you feel like?
Not consistently, no.
Not at all.
And part of that was moving pieces, but not consistent guard play.
No, it just wasn't consistent. Guard to guard, you better be strong. And it's not like look, for as good as Parker Brailsford, he wasn't a road grader. I mean, that's not who he is. He's a really good player.
Well, same thing with the next one you're bringing in, though.
Which one?
The kid from Cal Poly.
I love that kid.
He is super technically sound. He's quick. He's got great hands. Plays hard, but he is in the Brailsford mold. He's not moving people.
I absolutely love that kid. I watched his tape against Utah.
Yeah, I like it. I like how he operates.
I like him. I mean, they're pulling him.
He's a really good puller.
Really good. And I'll tell you this about I'm blanking on his name. Rayson Delgatti.
If he doesn't get an NIL deal with Talladega somehow, what are we doing?
Of the guys that I watched in the portal, and I wasn't sure what to expect. Like, I watched every single one of Alabama's portal players. I didn't grind on them, but I watched, probably 50, 60 snaps of those that had 50, 60 snaps available. Delgatti was the one that I was most impressed with based on what my expectation was coming in, because it was quality reps against Utah. Utah is known for what? Physicality and defensive line play. And he was not surrounded by an all-star cast of characters at Cal Poly.
Yeah, unfortunately for him, I think what he is going to do for the portal is remove anyone who had any interest in his quarterback.
That was tough sled.
That's going to be a hard pass.
Tough sled.
When I watched them, that was unfortunately my biggest takeaway.
Couple misses.
You see two screens go for pick sixes in like you said, a limited amount of time watching film, we're going to move on.
Yeah. Probably not on the short list. Great depth pad, down the road. Who knows? Anyways, I was very impressed with him.
I'm with you. I
think he's a plug and play.
I think he'll be fine, but my only point was he is similar to what you're discussing now.
Correct.
He's not a people mover.
Here's what's funny to me is the guy I expected to be the biggest people mover of them all is the kid from Texas, Nick Brooks. And I didn't see him moving a lot of people.
That has been an issue there for a few minutes, though, which is probably why. So,
well, I granted, I did watch the Kentucky game, which was the worst game of the year for Texas's offensive line. Florida would be close, but Kentucky was really bad, and he did not play well in that game. Watched him against Oklahoma. It was a little better. So I'm hopeful that it's okay, there's something in there. His first start was Kentucky, and it was tough sledding. But I'm hopeful there's something in there. But he's kind of of the Caden Proctor mold. I think he looks really good getting off the bus. He looks like he has the tools. But I just need to see it translate. I need to see the light. I need to see the light come on. Do you see the same way with him?
Yeah, similar. It's ability. I mean, he's 6'7", 350, 340.
He's big, no doubt. He looks the part.
But he actually playing the game
struggled.
Not great yet.
Based on what I saw.
The kid from Mississippi State, I think, can help.
I really like him.
Javen James. He's super athletic. He needs to clean up his sets a little bit. He gets his feet crossed up and a little close together at times, but he recovers. And that's something that's, honestly, it's not really coachable. When you see a guy in their pass set get in trouble, and then all of a sudden it looks like they're beat, and then they're back in front of their guy with their hands in place, it doesn't matter who your offensive line coach is. Some of that's just God-given ability.
Yeah.
And he has that. And some of the stuff can be easily repaired that does get him in trouble.
Yep.
He's very light on his feet for 320, and
I like
very
him.
nimble. So
I think
him a lot. I think he's a guy that can help right away. So you're getting a couple in that can help.
The other one I like. I mean, we talked about Haywood from Michigan. I like him.
He's going to be a player, I think.
Limited. He's going to be good. Limited snaps on the other Michigan kid. That it was hard to get a sense there. I'm not going to lie. Did you watch him?
Not as high on him. And I can't recall his name offhand.
Yeah.
I need to go watch the Rock Montgomery kid from Western. Or no, not the Rock Montgomery.
Rock
kid.
Montgomery's out.
He's out. I'm trying to think. There was another one that I haven't had a chance to watch yet. Offensive lineman. But the other kid from Michigan, no, I'm not as high.
The one that got away was a kid from NC State, Jacarius Peak.
Well, he's big time.
He's a really, really good player. I would have loved to have gotten him. If we got him, I would have felt great.
Caden Strayhorn.
Strayhorn. Yeah, that's the other one from Michigan. So I don't know about him just yet. But all in all, collectively, I think they've upgraded along the front. How would you assess?
The only reason that I wouldn't say that is how high I am on Brailsford, but collectively,
Love Brailsford.
Collectively, yes, I would feel pretty good about what you're bringing in. Now, just before you go write an article about that, it still takes a lot of time to formulate a group.
Totally.
Takes a lot of time to become a good offensive line. You need reps together. That's not going to be easy for them to be able to pull off, even though I do think it kind of sounds like we're going back to some regular springs now. We might be going back to some real spring games. We haven't talked about this. Auburn's going to have an actual spring football game. Maybe this is something that no transfer portal at the end of spring window, that is.
Yes.
That all of a sudden we're going to get our spring football games back.
That could happen.
We're back.
We are all the way back.
Put the word out.
Let's go.
I'm in.
I'm 100% in.
I'll call Bama or Auburn.
Give me 3 or 4 decent drives with my players that are going to be playing. Just let me watch.
That's all you want?
I'm just saying I'd be satisfied with that. As opposed to last year's slam dunk contests and water balloon fights. I don't need that anymore. I don't need pie eating contests.
Was it fights? I think they were tossing the water balloon to see who could catch it.
That too. I don't need egg in the spoon races in my spring games. Okay? I don't need the sack jumps. What were those things called? Where the potato sack jumps?
Yeah.
You're leaping down?
3-legged race?
Yeah, that either.
That's the sack race. Yeah.
Don't need that. None of it. Don't need that.
I'm with you. I think there's some benefit there that could absolutely be had with the movement of the spring window. I still think that we can get misled too easily. I still take every spring game with a grain of salt, because if I had $1 for every time when I first started in this career, I jumped to some conclusion about some dude that balled out in the spring only to see him catch 8 balls in fall. I'm not getting burned.
I've told you before.
I'm not getting burned anymore.
God love him. Brandon White was our spring MVP 2 years in a row. Probably a combined 26 catches for 590 yards.
Yeah.
Not a lot of regular season catches.
Not a lot of regular season reps.
I know exactly what you're saying. I get it.
We've all been burned by it. You got to be careful.
It can assist with a stamp of approval is what I think can happen there. It can help.
It can alleviate concerns.
Right. Or guy that may be concerned about, not going to be able to rely on that dude. Or feeling a little bit better about that guy right there. We'll see. We'll see. So
I'm pretty optimistic too. I love the addition of Noah Rogers. That was a great pickup, considering the circumstances. Trying to think of a couple of other guys that off the top of my head popped. Gosh, the 2 guys that got away that still just crushed me. Hollywood Smothers being out is killer, and then of course Jacarius Peak, both from NC State, ironically. Those 2 guys not signing were big disappointments. But I do feel okay about some of the other guys they brought in. I also like Terrence Green, the D tackle from Oregon. I think he's got a chance to be a really good player. Plays a little high, but he's a big boy. He gave you some good reps a little bit last year when I watched him. I think he's got a chance. TBD on the USC transfer at D tackle. He played him more at tackle. I think he might kind of slide outside and be maybe a little oversized end. I think that's kind of where he's going to live. He got mowed a couple times against Iowa, but hey, there's no shame in that. A lot of people do. So I'm really curious to see how it all comes together. There's some good reps on there from all those guys. I want to see it together collectively. Sure. You know what I mean? And then also with the pieces that are coming back, there's a lot of good young talent on that team. A lot of good young talent that they feel real good about.
All right, so that's an update on Alabama. We'll give you a little bit of an update on Auburn, some of the guys that they brought in, and how much different we feel about a couple of other schools. We'll do that next right here on Jocks. Which brings us full circle back to LSU, where this conversation started, who we feel very differently about, and one that on the other side we will get into, because there is reason now to feel completely different about where LSU is. If you would like for your home to be in a completely different place, Gusty Goulis and the Gusty Goulis Group can help. Over 855-star Google reviews. Most agents start marketing after you list with them. Not Gusty. He's been doing that in a lot of different ways. His super aggressive selling system can help you. He's got what it takes to attract hundreds of qualified buyers who are going to want your home. I can speak from experience. He's helped family members of mine. He can help you too. 205-542-1996, brokered by eXp Realty. The Gusty Goulis Group wants to help you get into a new home. Go to GustyGoulisGroup.com today. Look at that button at the top right-hand corner of the page. Smash that. Very little information. They'll let you know what they think they can get for your house right now at GustyGoulisGroup.com. 205-542-1996 or GustyGoulisGroup.com today. All right, we're going to stick with some of these SEC programs. Who's been added, who we feel good about, who maybe we still have some concerns about. Couple players out of the portal with different teams that we like. But LSU seems to be at the top of everybody's list right now. And how could they not be? Another massive name added over the weekend. And as Greg stated earlier to Paul Finebaum, does that mean it all comes together? We've wondered that before. Culture has been a concern for Lane, but it somehow seems to figure itself out. So we'll discuss who they have and why that's changed our mind about what they might be able to be this season next right here on Jocks.